What is up, humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got more Battles of Chaos news. Wouldn't you fucking believe it? So today we are looking at two new Dogmatica cards. I can't believe they're still printing Dogmatica cards, but apparently it's just a ritual deck now. It's all ritual. We're going ritual with it. So we're going to look at those. We also have the effects revealed fully for Chronicle Magician. This was the V-Jump promo card that said it was designed to like support like Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, and it's like a card that sums up an era of history. So we'll take a look at that after. But let's start off with the Dogmatica cards here. Of course, we have our white Exalted of Dogmatica. That's the girl here. She looks pretty cute. I like her design a lot. She is a level 4 light spellcaster ritual monster. I like that it's a level 4 because that means you can use Ecclesia as material for it. Its attack is 500. Its defense is 2500. It's a level 4 with with those stats. What the heck? List them twice. And you can ritual summon this card with Dogmatica, which I'm assuming is this other card here. And you can only use the third effect of this card's name once per turn. The first effect reads, if this card is ritual summoned, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field. One of them gains attack equal to the others. It's really interesting. I mean, even if you just summon this card while your opponent has a monster, you just target her, right? Your white Exalted, and then she gains attack equal to the opponent's monster, which means she'll guaranteed be higher attack than that monster, which is pretty decent actually, all things considered. Not horrible. It's a fine effect. Second effect, your level 8 or higher Dogmatica monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. I don't think that's that interesting, to be honest. I mean, it's just battle protection and it's only on the level 8 or highers. Meh. And the third effect, if a monster or monsters is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck, you can look at your opponent's extra deck, and if you do, send one monster from it to the graveyard. Now that's not horrible, right? All you have to do is put this on the field. If your opponent goes in the extra deck at all, you do get to rip a card from their extra deck, which, by the way, also gives you knowledge of your opponent's extra deck. I know at that point you probably already know what they're playing, but it does give you insight. Maybe if there are certain decks in the game where, like, depending on the route they went to building the deck, you might see a different extra deck, and it gives you some insight in what to expect for that. I mean, there are certain decks out there like Drytron and Phantom Knights that some are on, like Dragoon, some are not, and so that does give you an immediate peek at, like, oh, he's on Dragoon, let me send that. Let me get rid of that, or let me send Verte. Let me clear that out of the way. Something like that could definitely come up. So interesting. I don't think it's overly powerful, to be honest. I mean, I guess the first effect is a little bit nicer going second, but the third effect is obviously nicer going first. You know, it's okay. I just don't think it's like quite powerful enough. Ripping 1 is just not enough these days. If you can rip 3, then like we're looking at some, even 2, but 1, a lot of decks most important cards, they play at more than 1. So just is what it is. All right, next up we have the ritual spell. This is Dogmatica. This card can only be used to ritual summon any Dogmatica ritual monster. Okay, and you can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. The first effect reads, ritual summon a Dogmatical ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. I like that that's graveyard. By tributing monsters from your hand or field, and or banishing fusion or synchro monsters from your graveyard whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. Then, if both White Knight of Dogmatica and White Exalted of Dogmatica are on the field, you can look at either extra deck, and if you do, send 1 monster from it to the graveyard. So kind of a lot going on here, but pretty much it's going to allow you to tribute monsters from your hand or field, or banish fusions or synchros from grave, which is really nice if you used something like Nadir's Servant to get your play started. You sent a ritual or a synchro from extra deck to grave to kind of get things going. It's now extra free fodder to use for your ritual summon, which is nice. Secondly, let's see. I love that this could ritual summon, by the way, a Dogmatical ritual from hand or graveyard. Graveyard's really important, and we've seen that. If you want to make either a fusion or a ritual deck good in 2021, heading into 2022 now, you need to make it do something, like you need to break the mechanic some way. And this sort of does that by getting it back from grave and allowing you to banish from grave. to save you those resources, because they're just way too resource intensive, those summoning conditions. And the last part, if you have both, so White Knight of Dogmatica, I believe, is the last one we got, I think a couple sets ago. It's fine. I think it reminds me similarly to this monster, where it's kind of more like a floodgatey kind of monster, where I guess it's not necessarily a floodgate, that's more of a trigger effect, but it's similar things, similar defensive styles, I would say. So if you end on both of those after you ritual summon using this card, you can look at either extra deck, and if you do, send it to the graveyard. I love that it's either also. That's a really nice, cool text they could do with a couple more Dogmatica cards, where you could send something of your own, if you're in a mid-board state and you want to pop something. Or you can send like Titaniclad for follow-up, and of course, look at your opponent's extra deck and send something you think is really important. Because if you combine this with the other effect, ripping 2 out of the extra deck is actually decent. Right? 1, a lot of times, depending on the deck you're playing against, isn't going to be too impactful, but I think 2 generally could be, you can do some good damage with 2. 3 would be really strong. We've seen that with Lithosagin. All right, so pretty cool. I don't think they're going to like pop onto the scene and like Dogmatica Ritual's going to run wild. I think they're fine though. That's it. I think they're fine. Then we get to the other new card, which is Chronicle Magician. Keep in mind, this is a V-Jump promo, so we don't know when we'll ever get this card, but it looks cool. The design is dope. The artwork is sick. Here we go. Level 7 Dark Spellcaster monster. 25/25 for the stats. Pretty standard. You can only use both of its effects once per turn each. The first effect reads, if a monster or monsters with 2,500 original attack and or defense is normal or special summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. If this card is special summoned, you can target one Dark Magician or Blue Eyes White Dragon you control, and it gains 2,500 attack and defense until the end of this turn. Yeah, so it's cool. It definitely sums up an era of Yu-Gi-Oh, but it is an old era of Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, this card's fun, right? It's just Dark Magician and or Blue Eye support, but I don't think it's quite good enough to be played in either deck, to be honest. And it's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? Like, all it is like a stat buff, and it jumps out of the hand, but because you have to summon such a big monster, it's not even like a simple Kagamucha kind of like summon. It's more like you have to already be getting through your plays to be able to get those bigger monsters on the field, and that's when this card comes out. So it comes out a little later than you probably want it to. And it comes out in defense position, so you can't even like try and push for game with like this plus a Blue Eyes, because Blue Eyes would go to 55, plus this guy would be exact lethal, but because he summons in defense mode, you can't even do that. So yeah, it's cool, right? It's fun, it's gimmicky, I love the artwork, but it's not doing anything. I mean, we just recently got Dark Magician and Blue Eye support revealed, so like I don't think they needed this, but you know, I'm sure some people were hopeful. So unfortunately, I don't think this card's really going to help them out too much as far as trying to compete competitively, but still a cool card nonetheless. And that's going to sum it up for today. I think that leaves us with like 10 Battle of Chaos cards left. I already was thinking that all the rest was filler, but we had Dogmatica stuff, so that's not really filler. So I'm very curious to see when we finally get that filler released. It'll probably be, I mean, what's today? Tuesday, and the set comes out in the OCG on Saturday. So maybe Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even Friday, we'll probably have the rest of the set revealed. But of course, I'll keep you up to date on that. We need to look at the filler because there's always something good in there. But that is going to do it from here today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff from me in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.